how to use the artistry tool in Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop 221, 220, etc. with lines. Now, sadly, there's no line tool with pixels available now in 221. They've removed that. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use the rectangle. So that's quite an easy. So rectangle and go for pixels. Now I'm going to use normal. I'm using black and I've got opacity of 100%. And I'm just going to apply lines over this image. Now this is not ideal. I would prefer the line tool, but I can just quickly create quick lines like this over the image. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use these. And the reason I'm using black, that influences and modifies how the artistry is used. So obviously you can create all numbers of lines over this and different angles if you want as well. But I'm just going to quickly create some very basic lines. And once I've done that, then I'm going to go and I'm going to save that as a snapshot. So window and history. Now the snapshots are super useful in history, especially with the history artistry tool. So history panel here, go over to the right side there and go to new snapshot. So that's saved away. So now you've got that. What you can then do is you can fill this document with like black or white. So edit and fill. I'm going to set that, click OK. Now I'm going to add this back again. I'm using a pen, but you can use a mouse as well, perfectly reasonable. And what you can then do is go to the artistry. Now this may be in a different location depending on your customization of your tools. So there's the artistry. If you can't find it, just go down to these dots down here and then you can see edit toolbar and you should find it, artistry there. So artistry, and now what you can do, you can add back the image you got. Now I've got a brush that I'm using. This is the brush. Now I've also added that onto my website as well. So you can download this brush. It's just a very simple star, but I've defined it, edit and define brush preset. Okay. What you can do, you can set the size and you can see now, there's the brush, set the size. I'm going to go for about 11 or 9, doesn't matter. Now, also you've got brush settings here. You can set color dynamics if you want colorful, but if you don't do anything like that, it will just apply as the image is using the colors. So simply just apply it there. And now you see that's using the old image, the original image. However, if I go to the history panel, click there and history state, just go down there and you can see a little brush there. Now it looks, well, it doesn't actually look like that. It's very similar to the artistry. And now it's going to use that instead of the original image. And then what you can see, instead of the actual image, well, obviously the image is still there, you've also got these lines added into it. But they're not so pronounced. Obviously they're using the colours that are within the image, not the black, which is useful. So you can see that just applied. Now, of course, if I added a lot more lines, you would see that even more pronounced. And you can do this, of course, with any number of lines. So you can just apply it over like that. And you can still obviously see the face there, but now you've got this design. But also what you can do, you can always bring in the old image. So edit and fill. But remember to go to the history state over here again, put it back to the original, click there. Always go back to that initial state and then edit and fill and then go to history, click OK, and you can bring the original. Then what you can do, edit and fade fill, and then you can use darken, multiply, screen, overlay, and so on and so on. You can create some very interesting designs simply by using these lines. Now I'm just going to go back, right back to the start. So back to that. So what you can also do, there's lots of other tools you can use as well. So one of them, I'm just going to quickly go down. There's good old, you could use the pen tool or the Curvature Pen tool. I like the Curvature Pen tool. Now what you can do, instead of using fill with a black, what you can do, you can just go set that to no fill. But you can set the stroke to black and then set the size. And now what you can do, you can just click around there and it gives you nice curves. And now you can always vary it, of course. You can always turn around and say, I maybe want a bit darker than that. Yep. And then, or wider, I should say. And you, of course, can add these lines, or you could, of course, just do broken lines. You don't have to have a continuous line. Always can just whole heap of different designs possible. But I'm just quickly applying it over there. And again, you don't have to fill the entire image. You maybe could just concentrate on maybe the face, or maybe at the side, maybe the blue. And again, as long as it's black. And you can go there. Obviously you can go, I've created quite a few there. Now, just escape. And now I've got that design. What I can do, I can just flatten that image. So image, layer and flatten. Now I can create a snapshot from that. Instead of us using those lines as snapshot, what I can do, I can just go use this one. So right side menu, new snapshot. Obviously, you can give it a name if you want. Click OK. Now, make certain you click the history state for that. Just go there. And so that snapshot is now the history state. What you can do, edit and fill. Instead of using history, you can use, now I'm going to use white. Doesn't have to be black. So click OK. And then go back to the art history. Now you can vary the size. Now I could go for maybe slightly bigger size there. You can see it, and now because you've got that tangle, you can see the design follows that line as well. You've still got the underlying image. Now I'm going to set size down a bit. Maybe concentrate more on the face area so you can still see the underlying image, but obviously you've got these sort of, but they're not black lines, so they're actually obviously following the colours as well. Now, if you want to vary it, maybe you want different colours, you can get around that by going to Window and Brush Settings. So go to Brush Settings and go to Colour Dynamics. Set like the hue jitter to 60%, 62%, 64 and 70%. Just go there, and then when you do that, you can see as soon as you do that, instead of obviously the colours being of the image, you now got obviously more variety of colour. And of course you can vary the size, maybe go for 38, maybe go for back to smaller again, and you can keep varying, maybe apply effects in between. So what you can do, you can always go to filter and maybe blur, Gaussian blur. So you've got that nice colourful background there, and then again continue to apply the design there. Now what you can also do, of course, again, you might not want that colour dynamic, so just get rid of it and just simply apply it like that. Now what you can do, once you've done that, of course you can create some very abstract design, which do not have to bring back the face or anything at all. Perfectly reasonable abstract design. But what you can do, of course, is you've still got the original source material, so back to the history panel, go back there to the image 1, click there with the history state, and then edit and fill and history. Click OK. Now you're wondering why I'm not using the blending modes during that panel, the edit and fill. Well, I find it more flexible to just fade it. So edit and fade fill, because now what I can do, I can just go through all these blending modes and look at them, see what I like. Multiply, color burn, screen, color dodge, darker color. Just try all the different ones. Soft light, and so on and so on. You can see you can create all kinds of different color designs using those blending modes. And now, of course, you can continue to work with it, maybe apply additional filters, or maybe continue to just add, again, some more lines on top, just to add some more unusual color. Now, what you can do also, of course, I've shown that, but I was going to show you also, let's go back to the original image. I use Curvature tool. Well, you can also use the pen tool or freeform pen tool. So simply do a scribble over that. Now, you can vary the size, maybe not. So you maybe have maybe 7 or 8. And now you can, of course, vary this. You don't have to have, see the stroke settings. You've actually got, just go there. You can set that, but you can also go to this bit and maybe use dashes. So you can create a sort of dash design. So I'm just going to select that. And now when you apply this, you don't have to have it continuous. I mean, I'm just scribbling. Or maybe what you want, maybe you, let's just get rid of that. Don't want that line there. So I'm just going to go back, straight back to the original image. You could follow the, maybe go around the eye. So you can have it sort of like the image. Maybe add some hair. I'm obviously doing this very rushed, but you obviously can spend some time maybe. You can see you could add some black lines over there. Very sketch, very rough. Nose. And spend more time doing that, but okay, so you got that. What you can then do, of course, is go to layer and flatten image. And of course, you've got all these dots and things. You don't have to have dots. Obviously, I've just gone for that just to show you. And also, of course, what you can do, you can always use adjustments. So image menu, adjustments, and you can also use levels. So maybe brighten it. So you make it a lot brighter. So that's more prominent. Or maybe the other way, up to you. So you can vary it. Maybe go for that. If you want more of obviously the image itself. So now I'm just going to go with that. But again, what you can do, you can go and save it snapshot. So right click there and then new snapshot. Click OK. Now, of course, what you need to do is go up here and click the history state and then edit and fill. And I'm just going to go for black. And now go back to the art history brush. And now that will be using that dashed design as a source. And because of that, you actually see it emphasizes the actual face far more than before. Though I must admit the dots, they seem to have actually been lost. It doesn't really, obviously the dots probably were an unnecessary thing, but it was just a nice, to try anyway. It's always nice to try. I think, you know what, let's try something else. And it doesn't always work out. You can actually see some of the dots. It actually gives a little bit of rippling to the design. So it's not completely ignored, the dots. So there you go, you've got more of the face this time. And again, you don't have to do the blue over here. You can just do, say, the face. Just go over the face. And then once you've done that, what you can do, you can again go up here and you can click the history state here, back to the original one, and edit and fill, history, click OK, bring it back in again, edit and fade fill, and then go through the multiply. Some work better than others, of course. Lighten, that one doesn't. Overlay, soft light, difference, hard mix, just try them. Linear light. Linear light always seems to work very nice. I don't know why, but I always like linear light. So click it, and of course you can change the opacity if you want as well. So click OK, and that's it. Quick run through of how you can use sort of like lines, as well as curvature lines, pen tool lines, freeform, and all those sorts of things to create quite unusual images using the art history brush with obviously images. Like I said, there's all the images are in the description, so you can download them and try them out and use them obviously to create similar sort of thing. I hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always adding new tutorials about Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, Affinity Publisher, and many, many others. So please subscribe to the Graphic Extras channel. Also, please add some comments. Always appreciate it. Always nice to know what things did I do right, what things did I do wrong, things that maybe you need to explain a little bit better, those sort of things. Please let me know. Always happy to hear about that. Also, a dislike or like, very appreciated as well. Thank you much.